strongandelite.com, which is a women's empowerment lifestyle site. And our mission is to inspire and lead minority women to find their personal vision through sharing relatable stories so that they can pursue their passions without fear. I do this through a variety of ways on the site, through blogging, lifestyle articles about finance, self-love, financial literacy, as well as educational literacy. And then I do something called Rookies and Veterans, which is I share a story of a veteran, which is someone really at the top of their field who's been doing it for a while with a lot of accolades, and I contrast them with a rookie, someone in a similar field who's young like us, striving and still making headway. So one of my veterans was a New York Times bestselling author, Liabec LaFleur. She just released her newest book with Mike Brown's mother, Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. And then my rookie was a young woman named LaParis Phillips, who has bylines in Essence and Ebony, and they're both writers, so kind of sharing their stories together. One really top, one still doing great things. This event right here, Gen-E-Sis, is my first foray into extending the conversation offline and really showing the variety of spaces that women of color can occupy. So you'll be seeing from me not only panels, but eventually screenings and things like that coming to you soon, in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Yes. My motto is She Dares to Exist. So there we go. You guys ready? So with us today, we have next to me Miss Lindsay Day. She is co-founder of Crown Magazine, which is a natural hair magazine, and the women that love their natural hair. Next to her is Miss Chanel Johnson. She has Base Butter, which is an all-natural beauty product that you can use for your hair, skin, lips. It's has multi-uses. And then Miss Tracy G. She uses the term edutainer, which I love. And she is founder of She's Beauty and the Beast. And I'm really happy to have her here because she's in my ear every day because I play her affirmations daily. So to have her here is really great. And we're just going to talk about their entrepreneur journeys. I wanted 3 women that were in diverse fields. So we have someone here with the actual business to consumer product, someone here with a publication in the print industry, and then someone who has kind of a self-love affirmation aspect as well. So there's a diversity of opinions for you to go from based on where you guys are heading. By a show of hands, who here already has their own business or is interested in starting their own business? Yay! I didn't know she wanted to start her own business. Okay, great. So this is going to be great for you guys if you're near the beginning stages or you're kind of already started but you don't really want to know where to go next. We're going to really delve into that today, and these ladies are really great because they're going to be really transparent with you all. For the first thing, what led you to kind of disrupt the industry and the current landscape with your business? I know that Crown Magazine is print, but everyone says that, the print industry is really obsolete and declining. And for Tracy, you specifically, you're doing affirmations, which are fun and funky. It's not like your grandmother's, self-help book or anything like that. So what made you guys really want to kind of disrupt and do something out of the box?
For Crown, it's interesting. You hear that a lot. Print is dead. Everything is digital. I'm actually a digital strategist by trade. So funny enough, we are really using the digital tools that we do have at our disposal today in order to sell a print product and in order to sell a physical, tangible product. And it's funny that the way that we've been able to build a lot of the buzz and the sales and the press that we've been able to garner is because we had something tangible and kind of went out and hit the streets and put it in people's hands. And that's what really brought the vision to life, I believe. And it's different than just kind of having something out in the very crowded digital landscape. It was, for us, a very clear differentiator. And I think in terms of disrupting the print industry as it has existed, and the model, the kind of newsstand model that is declining, is not one that we're looking to embark on. So that is kind of how we, in our way, have disrupted and are disrupting. We noticed that, I think the stats are that 20% of, or on the flip side, 80% of magazines that are sent to newsstands by publishers are destroyed because they aren't being sold. So it's like this gamble of, let's send it and hope stuff gets sold, versus what we're doing is direct to consumer. So we're, using e-commerce strategy to sell the physical product. And we're also working with small businesses, mostly Black-owned businesses, whether it's pop-up library space in DC, or a kombucha bar in Toronto, or you know, we're in the midst of a huge boom of entrepreneurship, especially in our community, and so we're kind of using that to our advantage versus going the traditional route.
I love kombucha. That's just a fun fact. Anyways, before I even get into anything, I just wanted to really just say this is really dope that you guys have been so proactive and said, you know what, let me peace out on happy hour, let me peace out on Tinder, and really just be proactive and just giving like a couple hours to just being a part of this community and hearing from us, and also I want to be able to hear from you guys and your journeys. Anyways, okay, so disrupting the arena of self-help and wellness and all of those wonderful buzzwords that we see on Twitter and Instagram. I didn't really think of it as disrupting as much as just contributing, because I know there's a high level of responsibility I have with going into the space of personal development. So I have to make sure that I'm operating from a space of abundance first, because it has to be more so camaraderie than competition. But beyond that, I don't know, it's really authentic. I wasn't thinking to myself, okay, I'm gonna create something that's gonna make everyone this affirmation holic, you know? I was just like, I was in a really wild space, and particularly just tangled up in love and lust. And I'm a Scorpio, so I like to go scuba suit deep when it comes to figuring out like, what the hell is our purpose, why are we here, and how can I get off the zigzaggy course and find some type of linear definition to my presence. So anyway, so through all of this, just like digging and finding my pot of gold, Joel Osteen spoke to me. Can we get a snap for Joel Osteen? My main man. Anyways, so he said, I was listening to one of his sermons, and he was very, very particular and gave like a homework assignment, and he was like, yo, well, this is my, you know, definition, my interpretation. He's like, yo, go home, grab a pen, grab some paper, and jot down 10 affirmations. Now, my foundation career-wise is in writing. So I was an editor over at Vibe, I wrote for Marie Claire, a whole gamut of publications. Anyway, so when someone tells me to write something, I take it very seriously, like I completely soak it in my voice. So yeah, so I was writing affirmations that are like, you know, I am a multi-dimensional being with a banging set of brows who cannot be limited. Like, those were my affirmations. And I decided to record them because I just realized from being in the music industry that repetition is the mother of learning. And when a Drake record drops, we have that bad boy at least minimum 77% memorized, you know? And then I saw the power of just the movement of music, and how if we put the right track, it can get us to complete like our last mile in the treadmill. The right track can get us to drop our panties, right? So it was like, okay, what is the soundtrack when I don't need a partner in crime, but I need a partner in progression? You know, and so I wanted to lend my voice in that way because it was working for me. Like, I'm not someone that feels particularly comfortable with these terms like guru and whatever other synonyms. I'm just a professional at sharing light. And I'm someone who waves the Team Estrogen flag really, really high. Not to say that I feel like I'm coming from like a sorority type of space. So, not that I'm obligated to be besties with anyone who has like dangling ovaries. It's not that. But I don't know. There's just, when it comes to women and our role in human life, I just feel so connected to it. I'm connected to it biologically, and just connected to it where I wanted to make sure that my voice was part of a bigger picture. And also just change the idea of affirmations, because a lot of people just feel like, okay, affirmations, you think of, I don't know, this old wrinkled white woman on top of a mountain, and she has incense flowing from like her ears, her nose, and her vagina, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. Affirmations are just words you say to yourself about yourself, and it's simply that. And I just wanted to speak in a tone that I wasn't hearing for like a woman who appreciates Drake and Deepak. What does that sound like?
How far along in you all's planning and execution process were you when you decided to actually launch your business? Chanel, you want to start?
I was actually a year in, and really I had spent a whole year trying to really just figure it out. That's really why I spent the whole year, figuring it out, holding back because of fear, and really just trying to perfect it. And so really how I decided to launch Base Butter was, originally I was trying to create all natural lipsticks. I was trying to figure out something in beauty that I like to do hands-on. And so I had a ton of different names, I had different logos, but a lot of it felt really forced. And so I launched December 2015. Yeah, I launched December 2015. So towards the end of the year, like I had a vision board, and I was just looking at my vision board, I thought, oh, I did everything except for launch my beauty brand. And I didn't want to end the year without completing my vision board. I'm a different person than I was last year. Last year, like, I would not just put things out there. I would try to perfect it. And I told myself I don't want to be that person anymore because I feel like I'm holding back on a lot of opportunity. And so Base Butter was that one thing I just put out there to force myself to just start trying to do new things, like don't hold back because of fear. And so I literally launched at the end of the year. It took a whole year. I filed the business. I did all the legal stuff. I spent tons of money on it, but I did not put it out there. And so within a week, because I'm a UX designer by trade, I designed the website, I did the graphic design, I created the labels, my friend already did the logos, and I accidentally picked the beautiful coral color you guys see because I was trying to find a cool color to put on the website.
How much you know earlier, you know, how you get together with your old friends and colleagues and they're just like talking about ownership and, you know, sisterhood and how really we run the shit, you know, we run it. And have been noticing, you know, obviously the huge boom in natural hair, but all of the influencers and all of the people that were popping up and really making tangible businesses in this landscape. So that was, I think, the end of 2014 on my rooftop in Crown Heights, funny enough, in Brooklyn. And we just started having a weekly call. Let's chat about it. Let's empathy map it out. Let's, you know, create a business model canvas. Let's iterate and figure out what is this business model going to look like and how do we make this sustainable in an industry that people are like, print is dead, print is dead. We heard that so many times, so many times. And then at a certain point, you know, we were talking about bringing in a third partner, we were talking about all this stuff, and then it was that same thing. It's just like, we gotta put it out in the world. Afropunk was coming up, and that was like our deadline. It was like, all right, let's just make a little print piece, and we'll put it in people's hands. That'll be our minimum viable product, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. And we went out there, and women were just like, I think we don't see ourselves often, you know, in print form in a beautiful way. Like, there's tons of indie magazines out there that are actually thriving. There's a magazine called Offscreen that takes people in the digital space off screen into a print publication. But nobody is really taking that chance on us. And so we said, let's do it. And it's like people's eyes lit up and we're just like, oh my gosh, how much is it? And it was like, oh, well, we just went through email, but, you know. And we were able to drive pre-orders. We were able to, I was talking to vendors at Afropunk,
Yeah.
and they're like, how do I advertise? So we're like, okay, MVP, yay, we did it, you know. So from there, we were able to get some press and all of that, so that it's kind of gone from there. But it was really that moment of where is our market going to be? How do we get in front of them and validate this concept that we have?
Tracy, did you just throw it on SoundCloud and wish test, or?
In some ways, let me see. So when it first started off as a seed, I was really just doing it for myself, just as a form of like auditory healing. And so I also work in radio. I work over at Sirius XM on Sway in the Morning. So one random day, for whatever freaking reason, my spirit felt particularly cloudy. So I was like, okay, whatever, I know what to do. I'll pop in my little voice, chill out, and then boom, be back to equilibrium. So at Sirius, they have like a hallway lined up with all of these communal computers. So I'm out there, I have my beats on, you know, I put my voice up to level, you know, excessive. And I thought that the affirmations were just booming in my ear, but they were actually blasting on the speakers. And I remember people walking past me and looking at me, and I was like, I know I came into work like a 7, but it's not that bad. You know what I mean? What is the issue with y'all? But I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm back, you know, I'm trying to be my little Gabby Bernstein. So, anyway, so then after my, one of my co-hosts, Heather B, you know, it has to be when it's the grand finale, and she's like, tap, tap, yo, Trace, did you mean for this to be like the backdrop of the hallway? And I was like, wait, huh? And I'm not someone who really experiences a lot of embarrassment, and I was completely splashed in shame for whatever freaking reason. And because those happen to be isolated incidents in my journey of life, I felt like it required some analysis. And so I was like, okay, well, you know, your vulnerability was on blast for everyone to hear. So what is the antidote for this, right? And I was like, okay, whenever someone feels ostracized, you normalize, right? So I was talking to one of my boys about this, because also when I'm in a space of fear or embarrassment, I need to disown it immediately. And I do that by speaking it, because that just like deploys any of its strength, in my opinion, because our imagination is just an endless field. And it will just be a never-ending story, and there are just a gazillion chapters to that book. So anyway, so I speak to my boy, he's like, yo, do you mind me listening to it? And I was like, whatever, fuck it. Everyone in this damn building heard already. And he was like, yo, this is really powerful. And I was like, really? Thank you. Because it was working for me. And he was like, I think you should share this. Like, I haven't heard someone with your voice in this realm. And so I was like, all right, let's fucking do it. But I decided, you know, for me, you know, when it comes to yourself, you can just have things like on a B- level. But I was like, okay, I need to actually inject some quality into this if I'm gonna share it, and if I'm already in the audio space with doing radio. So, you know, you just immediately look at your resources on hand, because a lot of times, again, you can just already put yourself into a mode of defeat. If you're like, let's just take radio for example, and you're like, well, I don't have Angie Martinez's number in my fucking iPhone, so how am I gonna make it? But if you sit down and you say, okay, baby steps count. So if I took one baby step forward, who's there? Who has a resource, you know? And I said, oh shoot, one of my really good friends is a phenomenal producer. Let me holler at her. Let me see if this actually resonates with her, because you know, when you're doing this form of energy work, like every little drop of energy counts. So it has to be pure. And it was. And the first one that I put out almost exactly a year ago is called The Pursuit of Self-Love. And I was so scared. Son, I was really, really nervous, but I was like, yo, all I've heard or all I've told myself is that the pot of gold is right outside your comfort zone. So don't stop right in front of the line of your comfort zone, just hop right over. So I said, let's do it. What's the worst that can happen? I mean, Chris Brown probably gonna tweet something crazy, so if everyone hates this, there will be a distraction. You know, he did end up tweeting something, but like weeks later, but it didn't take away from my project. And then it just felt good, and I kept reminding myself not to be contingent. Not my joy for my project shouldn't be contingent upon others' opinions of it, you know? So if I put something on Instagram and I genuinely fuck with what I created, if I get only 7 likes, I cannot fall down into an anxiety soup. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot let that happen. It has to be done for me first. And then it's gonna reach who it needs to reach. And I don't mind taking the scenic route. I don't mind a couple extra steps on my ladder. It's just gonna give me some banging ass thighs. I don't mind it, you know what I mean? It's just patience and being open to God's creative possibilities, but then also adding the business sensibilities, right, which you do have to do research on, and I know you'll probably ask about like our different resources for that. Yeah, and so I went with it. I just paid attention to the feedback, went to SoundCloud. Also then looked at, took inventory of all the different steps in my journey. I'm such a present and future person, so sometimes I forget what I've done. So going back how I told you guys, my foundation is in magazines, right? So that helped when it came to the publicity side of getting the word out for this, you know? And because the one thing that's so important, doesn't matter what the hell industry that you're in, it's really cultivating relationships that are not rooted in a type of a favor process, you know what I mean? It has to be, okay, what can I do for you? How can we help each other? What is a win-win type of partnership? Let me just check in. It can be really easy with social media now to be in someone's face, you know, not in a wild, like, kid tugging on a mother's pants type of way. But I was able to leverage those relationships that I had sustained throughout the different courses of my career journey, and that's what I'm doing. I'm still in the crawling space, honestly, and adjusting from moving from project to business, and I'm not in a wild rush because I'm doing evergreen work, and because I just don't want to speed it up. I don't want the perception, you know, that's on Instagram to force me to just like run more than I'm willing to go at the moment.
Pace yourself. And I love how each of them have other jobs, but they use, like Lindsay used her digital strategy, Chanel used her user design skills, and you, your publishing, to kind of also parlay it into their entrepreneurship endeavors. So that's awesome. How does or did your target market dictate the actions that you take in your business?
Well, we started off being very customer focused because it is such a, I mean, we are not being represented. We're speaking about something that's very, you know, very intrinsic to how we see ourselves in the world. Our hair, Black women's hair, like every Black woman has a zillion hair stories, whether they're good or bad or something. But we really wanted to make sure that we were, you know, delicate with what we put out and how we kind of positioned ourselves, who we're speaking to. So I think just really diving into the mindset of the woman that we want to serve. Like I said, empathy mapping was something that was really, really important in the beginning, of just like talking to all my sister friends, just being like, okay, like I just want to understand. Especially, I mean, I don't know if you might not have noticed, but I'm light skinned and I have curly hair, and that is always, you know, it's like we have stuff within our own community that we're working out and sorting out. And I really didn't want to be the face of anything. I didn't want to be sitting here, like I wouldn't have chosen this, you know. That was God, because I was just like very, very like afraid of that vulnerability and that exposure. My mom is Black and my dad is white, and my mom, she has a very funny sense of humor, and she would always be like, I don't have that wash and wear hair, you know. So it's like you have those voices in your head where you're like, oh my gosh. And I've had weird comments. I've had people say, but you're mixed. Why are you, you know? But it's like you look at our industry, or this industry, and we're spending so much money on hair care products, services, and so much is going outside of our community. And so I think, you know, going back to your question, just really wanting to understand what makes us tick, and there's so many different things. We're so diverse, but wanting to speak to that diversity, I think, is very important. And, you know, showcasing the women that aren't typically seen, that it's like they're trying to write our story out. And we wanted to, you know, very specifically, the first piece we created was, you know, a dark-skinned woman with very coarse hair, and she's gorgeous. And we all know that dark-skinned women with kinky hair are gorgeous, but that is not a story that's told. And so those types of decisions are kind of what we've done to try to break through the clutter, and to really, we want to serve our reader.